I am here to help you shine your brilliance, access your genius, and align your body, mind, heart, and soul to live your best life. Asiya Redox, energy and vitality, ends aches and pains, replenishes your skin, eliminates wrinkles, recalibrates your system, improves performance, improves clarity, stops rapid aging of your cells, cell nutrition for advanced absorption. Live your best life now. Sign up today at shopasiya.com/Joan of Angels. Well, hello, everyone, wherever you are. Welcome. I am excited to see you. Are you guys ready to ignite your inner light and step into your full potential? I'm Joan of Angels. I'm your transformational guide on this journey of self-discovery and empowerment. And in this show, we are going to be exploring how to turn up your light and live your best life now. And each episode of this show is going to be packed with tremendous insights and inspiration so that you can shine your brilliance and create the life you've always dreamed of. So tune in, stay till the end of the show, and let's embark on this amazing, empowering journey together. So today's episode is about embracing infinite possibilities, how to awaken your intuitive gifts with our transformational teacher and master healer, Nan Akasha. But before I bring her on, I just want to tell you that I am Joan of Angels. I'm known as the Oracle of Ancient Wisdom. I help people around the world step into their power, remember who you are and your purpose, and shine your light. Let's all join together as my theory on living our best life now. Why not? So you can find me at joanofangels.com. Meanwhile, also, if you like the show, be sure to subscribe, like, and share with those you love so we can grow our tribe. All right, we're ready to talk about Nan now. She is known for her deep insights and her powerful healing techniques. She's dedicated her life to helping others awaken to their intuition and live their life of purpose and abundance. In this episode, Nan's going to show us how she really, her personal story of how she managed to transform and to become this amazing woman that she is now. She's known for her spiritual healing and her comprehensive programs such as the Light Body School and Infinity Light Weaving courses. That's Infinity Light Weaving courses. And she blends all of her healing techniques to uplift all of you, and also is doing the most amazing tours. So she's going to tell us all about how she became this transformed being that teaches all of these.
Yay.
Welcome, Nan.
Hi, sweetie. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody. Wonderful to be here. Always wonderful to be here with you, my love.
You know, I hop on a show with you, and I already am excited. I'm a 10. My energy shifts. I can feel the power of infinite, limitless possibilities, potentials, and awakening when I sit with you. Mm-hmm. So I don't know how you managed to do it, Nan. So how did you become this amazing, transformative being who really does explore the infinity?
Well, like everyone, I had lots of breakdowns. And that's what we ultimately get to learn. So the idea of being in an infinite space or full of infinite possibilities is often something we really want and yet feels far away. We don't know how to get it, or we were told we can't have it, or we have certain beliefs about ourselves that say it's not possible. So I grew up with a very nice family. However, they were very typical: work hard, suffer a lot. The more you suffer, the better you are. Don't ask for approval. Be your best, but don't think you're great, and all that fun. So I was a massive people pleaser, and I wanted to be the best at everything, to be good enough to win the love and everything that we all do. And then, you know, my first business went to $1 million the first year in fashion design. And by 3.5 years in, it closed because the economy crashed at the end of the 80s and nobody paid me. So it's that process of life that we were told by the patriarchal mindset, not men, but the whole concept of an authority outside of ourselves. You should do this. This is responsible. And I already went outside the box to start a fashion design company rather than work for somebody else and all of that. And I thought that my life had ended. I thought that I didn't know who I was. I failed at everything. I must be the biggest loser in the world, the whole story, right? And so, like everybody, because I know with my clients, it's why I love to do this work, is that I know it's not just me. And I work with so many students and clients for 38 years now that I see the patterns that are happening in everyone. I know that everybody has some version, their own story, their own archetype, their own heroine's journey that they're going through that has a reason for the ups and downs. So for me, the Sacred Serpent, of the ancient cultures, like the Mayan where I live, and almost everywhere, Egypt, and is that idea that this is life. And then you shed, right? And that what the Kukulkan is the Mayan Sacred Serpent has become a very important guide for me in the 8.5 years I've lived here. And shed, but also remember the fears that we were told was you're not ready, you're not good enough, who do you think you are? And instead it's you're perfectly formed inside. When the snake goes across something rough, it pulls off its layer, its identity, right? Its skin. And it has to go over something rough. If we think about that for us, maybe something has to fall apart for you to shed who you thought you were or who thought you had to be. And whether you're very lucky now to be doing this in our very fast evolution, or you did it a long time ago like me, where I was slogging through the dark, taking a very long time to get the spiritual breakthroughs, it's that inner path, it's that inner voice that drives you. So it's not, you didn't do anything wrong, and learning that is what allows you to become a master. Because then in moment to moment, when my daughter died, another huge breakdown of my belief system. I built myself up and now I believe this. And if I do my spiritual work perfect, work hard, please everybody, then nothing bad will happen. And what happens is you can go through the ups and downs and you'll have your breakthroughs and you'll reach your wisdom and you'll look back at some point and say, that was a great thing that happened to me, even though it really sucked, right? And then there's a deeper one. And that's what we're going to now. And that's what I like, is embodying. How and who are you being? Years ago, about 8 years ago, I think now, around the time I arrived here, everything fell apart again. And I arrived here and I thought I was staying for a few months. I'm still here 8.5 years later. I never would have guessed that Spirit wanted me to come here. I never would have guessed that the Mayan other lives I've had, the Mayan medicine, the Mayan sites, everything here has just captured my heart and brought me back to a huge spiritual lineage that I carry. And I'm not Mayan, clearly.
Really?
And yet I feel like it's a part of my heart. So breakdowns, as well as what you consider success in, I got the money, I got the guy, I got the house, whatever, it's going to come and it's going to go. And when we master that, then we get to be in a space of peace or acceptance or harmony or love as we go through the pain or the loss or the grief. And it's living in those 2 or 12 worlds that I feel like I walk in now that allows you, like you said, to hold space. So I've been leading retreats and taking people to places, and I have to talk to the land and I have to talk to the spirits and I have to make sure that we're aligned. And I'm doing that. And then before we got on here, I'm creating the sacred space the way I was taught in the ancient Egyptian mystery schools. In this life, I went through 3 different ones. And then there's just, to me, it's always about the energies clearing and cleansing. When we're done, I'll clear and cleanse. I'll dismantle that light temple and I'll make a new one for the next step of what I'll be doing during the day. And so whatever it is, I'm always aligned to what is optimal for my highest good in this moment and for all involved. So you and I. And the beauty is that you can do that even before you fix yourself, right? Before you change anything. You can just do that now. And it's called acceptance, which is a state where forgiveness and harmony and compassion and transcendence happen. And it's not weakness. So that was like underneath, until I got the words for it, was constantly having to accept what was happening. Not accept that I don't deserve, not accept that I'm a failure, not accept that everybody else has an opinion on what I do, but to disconnect from that, to hear my authentic voice. And, that's what we do, right? We get to see and do and live our spiritual path in a sacred way in our work. So more important than anything, do your spiritual work, connect to your sacredness in every moment, even if you hate your job or wherever you are. And then you connect to that and you'll start to raise that. And if you can hold space for yourself and other people, then everywhere you go, you carry that with you.
Well, that's a lot to break down, just to say, but here's what I really got out of that, which is that who you are today is a product of all your breakdowns and buildups, all your successes and your failures. You probably didn't even know you were a Mayan shaman. Had no idea. It's not like you were born with this card that goes, oh yeah, this is exactly how it's going to happen. And when I turn 30, and then when I turn 50, well, there's probably something out there that actually has it all detailed. But all of this has been part of your evolution. So it didn't stop you. It just forced you to go to align even greater with that path, which had your opportunities. So that's why the path is sort of like that Mayan serpent, but the journey is that way. But we get these possibilities when we say yes to the unknown.
Yeah.
I want to tell everyone, I went on a tour with Nan last year. Nan and I have been Zoom friends and StreamYard friends for quite a while. We met on an event she had, and we had never met physically. But the moment we hugged, it was like, I know we had had many lifetimes together, and taking that chance to explore with you. So, what should we go and talk about next? So let's talk about some of your transformational journeys that you take people on and what they're like.
Yes. So really it's about the transformation, the metamorphosis, right? In every moment, if you know the hero's journey, it's a circle. You're called out of your ordinary world for some reason, right? Maybe physically, maybe mentally, maybe to a new job, but that's the start of it. You're called. And then there's a magical mentor that you meet. You meet Gandalf, you meet the wizard, you meet Merlin, you meet the goddess, and some form. And then you start to go deeper into that journey. And then you start to face the monsters and the demons. And then you go into the underworld, and then you go into the shadow, and then you die. And you die to something, right? And we have to take that very deeply, because we're in this cycle in every area of our life all the time. You might be at this point in your relationship where you're just in your ordinary world, everything's just fine, you're hanging out there. And over here in your finances, your job, you've left your ordinary world, and now you're in the, you've just lost your job, and you feel like you're in the underworld, you're in the shadow, you're in the darkness, you don't understand why it's happening, and you're frustrated. Everything is a process, right? And then we have to rise up. We have to decide within that we're not going to listen to those old voices. We're not going to believe the fears. We're not going to believe the, oh, who are you think you are? You're not good enough, or you didn't make enough money last year, whatever it is, and stand up and take our power back, like all the heroes' journeys, right? Then there's always some goddess, there's some supernatural power, right, that tells them the secret, or gives them the sword, or gives them the magic spell, or tells them where to go get the thing that will help them, rescue themselves and whatever they're doing. This is all true for us. It's all true for us. And then you have to climb up out, right, of that. But everything, if you read, or you're familiar with it's a holy book in India, and it's very deep, and it's written as a story. But one of my favorite things in there is there's a conversation with God, basically, right? Like, why is this happening? What's with this and what's with that? And one of them was like, well, why, when I get inspired for something and I go after it, why don't I get it? Why is there so much disconnect? Or these are my words, right? Why is it that I thought this was what I meant to do? And I know you get that inspiration, you get that call, you see your angel, there's a synchronicity, you read your oracle cards, right? You do your divination, right? Yeah. And then you say, oh, that's what I meant to do. And then it doesn't turn out the way that you thought. And then what? Then you start doubting yourself and you start guessing and you start going into lower states of consciousness and judging yourself and deciding what it means. It doesn't mean any of that. You get to choose what it means. But we weren't taught that. We were taught it has to mean what everybody else is. Why don't you go get a real job? Right. And so the process is what Krishna basically said was, you don't get the goal of what you're going for. You get the journey to there. And that's the point. Whether you achieve that exact goal or not is actually spiritually not the point. It's what happens to you because you stepped out of your ordinary world. You were willing to face the fears. You were willing to speak up. You were willing to start your business. You were willing to do your podcast. You were willing to ask that person out on a date. Whatever it is, it's the transformation of the vision quest. So to me, everything is sacred. It's like being on a vision quest all the time. And if you want that infinite possibilities, you simply have to free yourself. But it feels like it's hard and it feels like a prison to most people. So the transformative qualities of what I call generically magic, right? Shamanic work, meditation, shamanic journeying, became a hypnotherapist because I thought, holy wow, you can do that with that. And then I became a shaman, trained in several different cultures. And then I worked with energy medicine, and then I worked with the goddess world and the rituals and all of that conversation with nature. And then when I got here at the Mayans, I actually had a little bit of a possession in the jungle. I got possessed with some unfriendly energies, let's say. And it was a whole night of strange and interesting experiences, of which most of it I was not in my body. My partner, Chris, got to experience it. Really don't go into the demonic world, but it was a bit like I had somebody like that inside of me, you know, just trying to throw me off the roof and kill me, trying to, being really mean to him, just saying horrible things and hiding and running around, all kinds of stuff. So that world that we know exists, hopefully, right, that multidimensionality of who we are is our truth. It is natural for us to divine answers and to get guidance. But we were taught, especially in the last several thousand years, that the sacred feminine intuition, that the arts that are related to healing or intuition or psychicness or all the beautiful, wonderful things, talking to the fairies and talking to the stones and, healing with herbs and crystals, I couldn't get enough of it. I just kept following the next thing that called to me, that spoke to me. And we are really bound within. People are still bound by words like priestess or divination, like, oh, I don't know about that, right? And there's this desire to grab your power, to your voice, to speak your magic words again. I am, right?
I am.
The simplicity that's there, the complexity of the struggle is from who we were taught we were. So you're in this unwinding, and you have to accept where you are in each moment to gently, lovingly, right, go through, right now we're feeling anger. Right now I feel like a loser. Right now, now I'm feeling better. But you don't wait for those peak states to go to your sacredness, to go to all around you. I mean, you know that. The angels are here all the time. Your guardian dragons are here all the time. The nature spirits are here all the time. There's no time that Gaia, which is your body, is not with you and you are related. In fact, physically, you're made of little bits of iguana and bunnies and crystals, like it's all recycled bits of earth. And so we are one at a magical level that we've been afraid to embrace. So this is what's fun about you and me and what's happening on the planet and your show, right? Telling people, shine your brilliance. It's okay. We're here. We're going to hold hands. We're going to help you. Whether it's in your family. Mm-hmm.
And isn't that so interesting that we have this duality, and we have this creative goddess energy that's infinite potential and multidimensional, and that can divine, and that is a goddess and can be shamanic inside. And yet so many of us are in a container where you can't step out of that somehow it's against society norms, or where would you begin, or why would you begin? So in other words, what I'm really hearing is that we're all magical.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
all brilliant. We all have this within us. It's a matter of how do we step out? How do we unlock the key to
Yeah.
let it, how do we unlock the door so you can emerge and then explore what's in your realm? Not everyone is a shaman, but you all have the potential to live
You,
your best life and to have
yeah.
these gifts and to communicate with source
Hmm.
and to go direct. But Nan is amazing because she's learned how to do it for herself and how she guides others to do that. And I love how you went to Mexico. You didn't know you were going to live there. I didn't know
I
that.
know.
I knew you were going to live there. And you also didn't know that you had roots as a Mayan shaman.
Oh, no, no.
And
In
you
fact,
probably didn't even know how much it would call you, because
oh, no.
everything I see you doing now has emerged out of the jungle, Nan.
The jungle, yeah. I mean, I've had these incredible periods in my life learning. I studied I studied with a Lakota Sioux shaman in New Mexico, oddly, when I lived there, and other local, but mostly with that, I got very into the Hopi philosophy, and a lot of their beautiful traditions of really respecting the earth and feeling the earth and understanding the earth. And then when my daughter died and we moved, I adopted my twins at birth, and I was home with them, and I knew no one, and I was overwhelmed and still grieving. It was only 2 years or so, maybe a year and a half after Jordan died, that I adopted Sierra and Emily. And it was this both yearning for that sacred again and to be loved, to be seen and loved and held, not from a neediness, but from that spirit. Like you and I, like we check on each other. How are you? What do you need? Like there's like, we don't have to live next door to each other, but we can have this caring, loving space. You don't have to be a woman in a body. Don't care what your gender is. It is more natural for women in their physical makeup to have a heightened intuitive, so on and so forth.
Right.
However, we are reaching that neutrality in our gender concept so that we can have balanced sacred feminine and masculine. And we don't have any concept of sacred either. We haven't seen any of that happening on the planet for a very long time. So we're figuring out how to embody that. When I got there, and for some reason, I kept getting called into the goddess world, into the Wiccan world. And then I would pick up a book and I'd read a little and then I'd leave. And I'd get this sick stomach feeling in my stomach. And then I would, maybe 6 months later, I'd be called again. Finally, I went and I met this group called the Reformed Congregation of the Goddess. It's all over the US. And it was the most loving group of women. They took me in. I felt like I was being held in Gaia. I felt like I was being held in a womb. They were loving me in a way my own mother could not. She told me, it's not my responsibility to make you feel better about yourself. Thanks, Mom. I love you too. And so, hey, it is what it is. I no longer have any attachment to that.
I'm not that kind of mother.
Me neither. I'm all like, can I hug you? Can I kiss you? La, 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 here's some magic. Yeah. So, it was following the heart and the hurt, but not into bullying yourself, into finding places that love you and let you experience that. And that was where I softened into remembering my Celtic lineage, learning, being on the ritual committee, and taking the Native American teachings about sacred earth deeper by the more goddess traditions, which is sacred earth too, right? It's that acknowledging the life force in everything. And so underneath everything, you have to receive, because the divine feminine is receptive. Yin is receptive. And so energetically, the idea that we give, and leave ourselves to last, and every other version of that story is exactly part of the women's intuition, women's, whatever wisdom, spiritual lineages are really coming forward very strong right now. They're undervalued, underpaid, the rights taken away, all the way back to being burned at the stake. And those come up in my clients and my students. They literally feel like they're burning again, or when they decide they want to speak up and be a healer, or even step out and have a voice. And honestly, I can't tell you how it may be shocking to some people, and it may not be, how many women live with a partner who, if they knew that they were working with me, if they were doing some kind of meditation or group, they would kick them out of the house. I have a lady
Kick
in my
them out of the house still.
Yep.
Kick them out of the house. So that's huge. That already explains right there, you know, that's a nugget about what's happening out in society. If your client's spouses knew. Well, you know, when it's kind of funny. I spent the weekend with my kids and I had to see their dad. He accused me of being a witch. I remember the day my daughter was born. Okay, she's born and breastfeeding, and I'm having a problem breastfeeding. And I have a friend come over and she's an herbalist.
Yeah,
She
perfect.
did herbs and tinctures, and she does something very mellow. She says, Joan, just take a tea bag.
Yeah.
You know, brew tea bag and then put it on your breast. That'll help you with the pain and it'll help with the breastfeeding.
Yeah.
Well, my husband showed up about 5 minutes later. You know, I'm sitting there with the tea bag and he went off on me, accused my friend of being a witch. And I mean, he was incensed. He had a rage attack, literally in the hospital, calling me a witch because I used a tea bag
Thank
to
you.
Lipton's, a goddamn Lipton's.
Yeah, not even like, you know, some herbal thing someone grew in their enchanted garden, right? Just regular tea. Exactly.
But because he was brought up in Croatia and the word witches and women who do this kind of work. And so we all collectively, all of you out there collectively, because we really do have some of the similar backgrounds, were probably had lifetimes burned at the stake.
Oh, yeah.
Drowned, we're forbidden from speaking your truth. And what you've been talking about is our inner truth as the sacred feminine. It's not even the divine feminine, the sacred feminine who holds secrets, who holds the mysteries, who holds intuition, who can tell you what you're feeling, who holds the answer, like being the glue to everything. And yet we're being told not to do it. We're being forbidden. When I do my wing fluffing, honestly, we clear off lifetimes of being told you couldn't speak, lifetimes of being pain for being and I don't use that, an herbalist, a healer, a listener, one who can translate what they're hearing. So that's very powerful work, Nan. And it's a reminder when you tell me I still have clients that are not allowed to speak this.
That happened yesterday. So two of them. One is, you know, in a current reforming her relationship because she's waking up and it's realizing that she's been more of a slave in the relationship concept and has no power, no rights, no will, and is trying to have conversations. And it, you know, being intimate with people who feel safe to come in to the space like you were talking about and share this and speak it. And then, you know, how they're able to be seen and be vulnerable when they live somewhere it's not safe. You know, it's not safe to be who you are. We're all like, be yourself, shine your brilliance. And then you live with people who would say that. I had a similar experience with my dad. He was visiting me in New Mexico and he went down to the field that was full of tumbleweeds, and he likes to work on Paul Bunyan, you know, and he was cutting them down, and a spider jumped out and ran up his leg, and he got bit. So he came inside. My mother was a nurse, and so she was like, you know, pulled his leg up, and she was like, "What do you have?" And let me get this. And we were just watching it get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I don't know what the spider was. I didn't have any specific training. I was a homeopathic doctor, worked with flower essences and all the rest of it. However, I didn't have the rest of this knowledge at that time, or I would have just started pulling it out with energy and backing him up in time and putting him into a different timeline or something else like I do. And so I just walked outside without even thinking. This was like a spiritual lineage. This was like an inner thing. Popped off a piece of aloe vera, not a big deal, right? Walked in and rubbed it on it. I didn't know what it was going to do, but that was just what I did. So I rubbed it on it, and he's looking at me, and my mom's looking at me, and then we just watched it go down. And he looks up and he says, "What are you, a witch?" Matt, thank you for friggin' saving my life. And that definitely came from another life, word in his life.
What are you, a witch?
What are you, a witch? After you've just helped them. Okay.
After you just saved his life, possibly, and did something that wasn't a pill, it wasn't you weren't a doctor, and the pain went away.
Yeah.
I find that, when I moved to Mexico, I don't know if I told you this, but I lived in Mexico for a year, and when I moved down there, I made a decision that I was going to learn to heal myself with the spices and the herbs in my kitchen.
Nice.
That I wasn't going to worry about healthcare because I was going to learn how to take care of myself. And boy, the miracles that happen when you turn to healing energies is transformational. But what happened to your dad, I want to talk about that, but it's a disconnect. You did something and he reverted. And that's how we got burned at the stake, guys.
Actually, what was interesting was that was one of the triggers that had me have a past life memory, right? If you want to say it. Now, I work with people as a whole. And in my opinion, your soul is a piece of the infinite, and it has all the lives, and they all exist already. And they're calling to us now, not just because we share wounds, but because they want to both be healed and freed so our whole soul can move forward and we can take the wisdom like elders do. The wise elders are not the ones that did everything perfect and don't have a scar. Right. They're like me. They lost it and they gained it and they did it, right? They're full of all that. And they walked through it and understand the wisdom of it. Mm-hmm. And so I find that other lives are extremely important, especially now with the rise of the divine feminine and the remembering of our spiritual lineages, like really remembering, did you go to a wisdom school? Are you an herbalist? And because this is a remembering. There really isn't much of anything we have to learn new. What we have to do is be who we are now.
Right.
Because we have access to something completely new right now. Nobody knows what we're turning into, but it's a hot mess falling apart. And we're not here to stop it. We're here to ride it and be part of the creation. So what's the energy that we're giving into the world that's creating? Is it fear? Is it limitation? Does it mean you have to go tell everybody, fuck you in your life? You can't control me right now? No, it's that softness of surrendering to the sacred flow. After that happened, it was like, oh, that was an odd thing to say, whatever we did, my mom went and made lunch probably, right? Went on with the day. And then I had this whole download of a past life. It was my sister and my mom right now. I'm adopted, but that raised me, and my dad. And my dad was our dad, and my mom and my sister in this life were my sisters. There were three of us, and we lived in a small town, and my dad was a preacher. And he preached against witches and preached against natural things and preached against everything like that. And I was just like we were called like faith, hope, and love, like these names from the Bible. That was our names. And I was a nature fairy magic girl like I am now. I was skipping around, talking to the fairies, picking the flowers, healing people, whatever. And he didn't specifically say she's evil, kill her. But what he spoke, what he preached, what he said was the truth, eventually caused my death.
I hear you. And we have to heal that. And so coming into this work and going to our unlimited possibilities means that we remember when we were unlimited. So Nan, this has been amazing. Tell us now how you're helping people do that now and how they can work with you even without permission, especially.
Yes, even without permission. Like, I didn't know this. I have a mastermind. It's 7 women that we're together for 6 months every week, and those are the people who are, 2 of them are in that situation, that they have this support. So, well, the best thing to do is to get on my email list, so you know what we're doing at nanakasha.com. And I do have a YouTube channel as well. We're very active. Tomorrow I'm channeling Morgan Le Fay, who is the very misunderstood, incredible priestess of Avalon, right? Half sister of Arthur and Lady of the Lake and all of that, like very, very powerful priestess, sacred feminine icon that was then demonized, like most of them, was then turned into some evil sorceress and in the stories. And so she actually asked to come and speak about that exact thing. So I'm just realizing
God, that's going to be incredible. I'm going to have to listen.
Yeah.
That whole era the Mists of Avalon and her, very powerful.
Yeah.
So I
Did a
love.
show last week on Merlin and Lady of the Lake. And
Oh.
so because I'm doing a retreat there in October. So yeah, we're going to learn dowsing and talk to the dragon lines and Mary and Michael. And I've got private access at the Sacred Wells. And we're going to talk to the stones, and we're going to go to the goddess house and make wands and pure magic. So those energies are speaking. And that's what I like. I like to have, like, we have a Sacred Spirit Guide Circle that's monthly. It's just $26 a month. And we meet twice and we channel, I'll do readings for you, or we channel different spirit guides, because the support is here. It's everywhere. And so to me, everything that I do, like the school, my mystery school has evolved over the years. And this year, our summer school is usually it's called Intuition Awakening Summer School. It's called Divination Awakening Summer School.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah. So we're really opening up those deeper priestess, like I was told by Spirit a couple of days ago. You have to start claiming you're a priestess. You have to start, empowering women or people want to step into their divine feminine powers. And I said, well, why priestess? Why not something softer like goddess? Right? And they were like, because a priestess is a sacred feminine embodiment of power. You don't look at a priestess and say, oh, you're kind of weak and you're a pretty goddess, but you don't have any power. A priestess is a woman who stands in her power and devotes to her sacred path and is willing to walk that sacred path no matter what anyone else says. And so that's the fun distinction that's happening for us now, is we have the support of the earth energies that are shifting and the ancients.
I'm so glad you brought that up in that way. That is empowering. Okay, so you have your tour going on, happening. You have several groups happening. Anything else we need to know?
Well, the prosperity magic class, we did a prosperity magic class, and I channeled sacred feminine energies. I have a whole oracle deck that we were working with. I think maybe you can see this right here. Mm-hmm. This is the fairy queen of luminous beginnings, and her message is that your wish is granted.
Woohoo! I love it. Her wish is granted.
So the other one of the other guides that came through last year was the sacred grandmothers, prosperity grandmothers. They call themselves the Watchers of dream weaving. And they work with the colors, the ascended masters of the rays and the colors and the full color spectrum. And we did a class called Prosperity Magic, which is in my shop. You can go check out there's a lot of free things in the shop too. And that I would definitely recommend you go get. And what happened with that class is so profound. I think we ended at the end of January, and the last 3 weeks, all the people in it have started saying, wow, I did that. And then I went out and I created all this. And now I feel like I'm coming back to do that again. So I had the same feeling as well. And that prosperity magic, we're gonna move forward with that. We're going to be really taking earth magic. I'm calling on my Egyptian lineage, my Mayan lineage, my Jaguar medicine woman, my Celtic lineage, Greek, and the other ones are all going to come in, and we're going to be exploring earth magic, divination, ancient mysteries of these things, because they live inside of us.
I love it. I love it. I want to thank you, Nan, for being on the show.
Thank you, sweetie.
I'll see you in a minute. Thank you so much. Guys, you need to reach out to Nan. She has, I don't know about you, but I'm already tingling with some of these new possibilities and these new understandings that she has given us. So make sure you reach out to her at nanakasha.com. So meanwhile, I'm so grateful that all of you have been with us today as we really step into shining our brilliance, turning up our light, and living our best life now. I'm Joan of Angels, and the work I do is in helping you remember who you are, why you're here, your soul purpose. And I offer these most amazing soul essence portraits, which look at all your different soul aspects and helping you bring those into this life today. So I want to thank you again for being with us. Be sure to share the program, like, share, and subscribe. And remember, we love you. And no matter what, keep living your best life now. And I'll see you all next week. Bye for now.